สวัสดีครับมาพบกับรายการฝรั่งขี้นกสอนภาษาไทยตอนที่เท่าไหร่นะที่7ตอนที่7นะครับตอนนี้จะสอน3คำนะครับกล่าวคือกล่าวคือแปลว่า and those are whatever it was that I just said is about to come now กล่าวคือ and those things are คำว่าคืออะไรคำว่าเป็นอะไรและก็เป็นยังไงนะครับ So I think these three words have a tendency to maybe get messed up in the Farang head. This is from personal experience. I haven't actually heard a lot of Farang use this wrong or anything like that, but I have. It's just not something I hear a lot, but I have heard it used wrong. Okay, before I want to start teaching this, I want to talk about the basics, right, of Thai. Remember that you don't need the word ben or ku in a lot of situations. As long as you know what an adjective is and a noun is, you'll be good to go. Right? For example, you'd say ผมเป็นนักเรียน I am a student, but you don't say I am hungry. You just say ผมหิว You don't say ผมเป็นหิว or you don't say I am 7 years old, right? You say ผมอายุ24ปีหรือ you can even say มีอายุ24ปี but you cannot say ผมเป็น24 You cannot say that. It doesn't work. Right? So that's one thing to keep in mind. The difference between ben and ku, I don't want to really go into it too much, what I think the difference really is. I think ben has more to do with the state of being of something, whereas ku is more about the descriptiveness of it in order to identify. But I really don't know. But the reason I'm saying that is because you say, for example, ben ro, when you're sick. So ben what? You have a cold. Ben kai, you have a fever. Ben, I mean, in English we use the word have, but in Thai you embody. Right? You are the sickness. You ben rok ni, ben rok nan. Whereas you would not say you ku rok nan, because that would mean you actually are the disease, not that you are afflicted by it, but that you are that thing. Right? If you said rok AIDS ku arai, that would then mean what is AIDS, right? But if you say kao ben rok arai, you're asking what disease he is, not what disease he has, right? Not what disease he is. This could sound like a very strange question. Kao pen lok arai, right? What disease does he have? Not what disease is he. We're not calling him a disease, okay? So that's one thing there. But I also want to bring it to your attention that the phrase ben arai, it could be translated to me. I could say kao pen krai, or kao ku krai. Kun kid wa kun pen krai. Who do you think you are? I think there's really no difference here saying kun kid wa kun pen krai and kun kid wa kun ku krai. I don't think there's much difference, but I think the ben has just a little bit more to do with who do you actually think that you're acting as, instead of who are you trying to position yourself as. I don't know, but that's really a little bit of a stretch. Thai doesn't have this kind of really defined difference between synonyms and things that are used like this, so I don't want to go and try and over-define it. Keep in mind that the fact that we have a strict difference between potential and possibility in English is because people have debated it. Okay, a lot of these terms in Thai, the difference between ku and ben has only sort of been discussed by some people. It hasn't really been taken up as an interesting thing in Thai society. So when I talk about terms, don't look for the same kind of definitive difference in Thai that you have maybe with Western languages, right? Because Thai doesn't have that history of trying to rehash over and over what meanings mean, how they differentiate. But anyway, one thing that's different for sure and you have to be careful with. Although you could say kao pen krai, you cannot, but you can, but I would advise against saying kao ben arai, because the phrase ben arai also has another meaning. What's the meaning of the phrase ben arai? Well, it's what's wrong, right? Oh, ben arai. Ben arai, what's wrong? Right? Ben arai. That means what is wrong. So, if, say for example, and this is something that became that I noticed when I was in AUA in my first class, and one of my only 2 or 3 classes that I went to, was that they would team teach, and one person would introduce something, and the other person would then ask about it, and they'd sort of teach each other. They would teach each other in Thai, and we would learn from that, right? So we would learn how to ask questions as well as give answers. So they say, trying to think of something. They'd pick up a picture and they'd say, อันนี้คือ JD. Well, no, they wouldn't do that because that wouldn't work with the picture. They just ask, right? เคยเห็น whatever. And the person would, instead of, they would then say, มันคืออะไร that's the first question. What is it, right? If you have no clue what it is, you can't can place it contextually at all. You would ask มันคืออะไรหรอมันคืออะไรแล้วมันคืออะไรเนี่ย right? So well, maybe I'll get into that later, some other video about เนี่ย and na and law and all these different things. But for now, I just want to talk about, right, this idea of คือ and เป็น so คืออะไร you'd ask first, maybe, you know, มันคืออะไร and then once you've established sort of what it is basically, then you'd ask แล้วมันเป็นยังไง how is it, literally asking about its details, its characteristics, right? And then they might describe in more detail, right? But you would not say อันนี้คืออะไร แล้ว once they tell you what it is, you would not say แล้วมันเป็นอะไร because if you say มันเป็นอะไร that's asking what's wrong with it. And this doesn't just mean, it doesn't have to just mean emotions, right? Like if my computer's not working and I want it to work, เป็นอะไรเนี่ย like what's the problem? What's going on? Right? Or sometimes you'll hear, like, if parents yell at their kids, what are you guys doing? You know, what causing trouble? Something like that. They might say เป็นอะไรกันเนี่ย right? So, or they might just say อะไรกัน but really เป็นอะไร, right? เป็นอะไร has this idea of what's wrong? What's the problem? What's the problem? So you don't want to say that when you're just going to ask about what things are, right? อันนั้นเป็นอะไร you don't say อันนั้นเป็นอะไร you say อันนั้นคืออะไร right? Or you might say อันนั้นเรียกว่าอะไร or if you're asking about something, you want to get a better idea of something, you don't say มันเป็นอะไร you could ask มันคืออะไรหรอ or maybe or มันเป็นยังไงนะครับ okay? So those are I don't know if there's really much to think about here. Hopefully there's something to benefit from. I really just want to focus on this idea of not saying ben arai to mean what is that, because it means what is wrong, right? And that's a mistake I have heard sometimes, a mistake that I myself made quite a bit. All right. Like I said, hope this was of some use to you. ขอบคุณครับ สวัสดีครับ